President Trump heads to Capitol Hill today to push for tax reform with Senate Republicans. The president says he wants to have the overhaul finished before the end of the year, but the clock is ticking and the bill faces challenges in the Senate.
Senators Ron Johnson of Wisconsin and Steve Daines of Montana have both said they do not support the bill in its current form. They are worried the bill does not do enough for so-called pass-through businesses. The owners of those entities pay taxes from their business profits on their personal returns. Johnson says this covers more than 90% of U.S. businesses.
At least 7 other Republicans have not said how they will vote. They are concerned about issues ranging from the impact on the federal deficit to removing Obamacare's individual mandate. Republicans can only afford to lose 2 votes.
Republican Senator Rob Portman of Ohio is a member of the Senate Finance Committee, and he's with us from Capitol Hill this morning. Senator, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
So as just we laid out 2 Republicans currently against the bill, how do you see things changing?
Well, I think about 90% of the Republicans have said they are supportive of it, in fact, strongly supportive. And then we've got some folks who are still looking at various aspects, but they all want to get to yes. They all want middle-class tax cuts. They all want simplification. They all want the pro-growth policies. In something this complicated, there are going to be differences, but I feel confident we'll come together. You know,
one of the interesting things is if you address some of the concerns that some of the senators like Ron Johnson have, which is to help these pass-through businesses, which account for 90% of businesses in this country. You do that, but then you add to the deficit and you lose some of your Republicans who are, of course, deficit hawks. How do you find compromise on that?
Well, you're right. There's a balance here. But I will say among those companies that are called pass-through companies, and it is the majority of companies in our country, and they employ about 50% of the people, there are significant tax cuts and there is tax relief because those businesses also will be able to invest more in their plant and equipment and people. There'll be higher productivity and therefore more economic growth. So that's in there. His question is whether it's a balance. In other words, whether there's parity with the multinational companies that also get relief to be able to be competitive globally. So, it is a balance, but I think in the end we'll get there because overwhelmingly, Republicans and a lot of Democrats, by the way, are very supportive of the middle-class tax cuts, the simplification, and just the general focus here, which is how to get more jobs and how to increase wages.
So how is this really a tax cut, Senator, for the middle class? The New York Times analyst found that more than 13 million middle-class families will actually be paying more.
Well, if you look at the information that's objective, which would be the Joint Committee on Taxation, and they're the nonpartisan group up here, it's pretty clear. And there's been some analysis of this. The Tax Foundation is a good place to look online, or jct.gov if people want to look online. But if you're a median income family in my home state of Ohio, you will get a tax cut on average of about $2,375. And that doesn't include the advantage you get from having, again, a more competitive economy. That many have said that's several $1,000s for that same family as well every year. Now, for families that are living paycheck to paycheck, that's a big deal. And by the way, it's progressive in the sense that if you are a family of 4, 2 kids making $50,000 a year, you get a 36% tax cut on average. If you're making $85,000 a year, you get a 20% tax cut. $165,000 a year, you get an 8% tax cut. So the benefit is really focused on the middle class and those who are in this range of $30,000 to $70,000.
Senator, there is an argument for corporate tax cuts, and it's that they will reinvest and pass those savings on to middle-class Americans. But the Tax Policy Center said it could take up to 20 years. Why will it take so much time to put money back in employees' pockets?
Yeah, I think every economist who looks at it says that we've got to change the way we tax our companies because they can't be competitive, and that some of the benefit is going to go directly to workers. Now, people disagree. Some say that's 80% of the benefit. Some say it's 25% of the benefit. But you're right, that's going to go to families and working families across America. I think it'll happen very quickly. I know there is a 1-year delay in the corporate cuts, and there is an immediate cut for families. But I do think during that time period, because expensing will be something that a lot of companies will take advantage of, immediate expensing. I think there'll be a lot of investment, and that's what the economists seem to say. So I can't understand why it would take that long, because I think what you'll see is immediate decisions made by companies knowing they're going to have this ability to be able to invest more, increase productivity, and get wages back up.
Do you think it was appropriate for President Trump to call one of your colleagues, Senator Warren, Pocahontas?
Well, they have a back and forth that I'm going to stay out of. It's long-standing. I think that event yesterday was an event to honor an incredible achievement, which was these Navajo code talkers, and should have focused on that. And what they did in World War II is truly spectacular. And There aren't a lot of them left, and it was a time to pay tribute to them and honor them.
Yes, a lot of people agree with you on that, Senator. We thank you for taking the time, but before you go, are you as excited as I am about Harry and Meghan getting engaged?
It's about time, is all I can say. Poor Harry. He hasn't gotten the attention he deserves.
I can tell, Senator.
Seems like a nice guy.
I can tell you love too. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks, guys. Great to be on with you. Take care.
Thank you very much.